Welcome everyone to VTM Independence. We're going to start the scene tonight with Jordan working in the school library in a private room. He just received a text that his friend should be appearing shortly, and he texted his friend back to let him know exactly where he was on campus. Unbeknownst to him, his friend is also in contact with another person, sending her his way instead of actually showing up himself. So we'll open the scene. Jorgen bent over his mountains of paperwork, as he has been for the last week or two. Go ahead.
With him bent over the paperwork, the sound of heels clicking on the floor behind him will probably alert him that there is somebody fast approaching.
And he spares a glance out the door to see who could be coming in heels this late at night through the library, barely giving a glance to the approaching woman before bending back over to his paperwork.
She'll once she enters the room, I'm assuming it's unlocked.
Door's wide open.
Okay, well she will walk into the room and she'll take a moment to look around, and then she'll go, or her eyes will settle on him with all the paperwork, and she'll go, Mr. Washell, I assume.
And Jorgen will look up, one eyebrow waves. I'm sorry, I don't have the pleasure, he says as he stands up.
Right, I'm sure our mutual friend probably didn't tell you I was coming. Maribel Anton, and she'll hold her hand out.
And Jorgen will put on a fake but charming smile and walk around the desk or the table that he's working at and take her hand in his, giving a brief kiss upon the knuckles. Jorgen Washell. So what do I owe the pleasure?
Well, our mutual contact has informed me that you're looking for a dean for your school. Well, look no further. I am who he has sent in his stead. He's a bit busy with everything going on back in Salem, so she kind of, makes a motion with her arms like, ta-da, you know.
And he, his eyebrow raises slightly, and he scratches his head. And, so Bobby sent you. According to his text, he was on his way himself.
Really? That's weird, because he was just texting me about how you wanted me to meet you here.
I wonder what he's getting himself into, he says almost absent-mindedly to himself, before turning back to the woman in front of him. Well, please, have a seat. And he motions to one of the chairs sitting around the table as he walks over to the door and shuts it.
Oh, she'll take a seat and she'll go, oh, I brought my resume, I brought my qualifications, obviously, copies of my various degrees. You should find everything about my resume to be satisfactory. She'll like offer him a big grin.
And Jorgen will make his way over and sit down next to her, abandoning his paperwork across the table. And as she pulls out the paperwork, he'll start shuffling through it and definitely showing a finesse of looking at papers. Um, and he just basically falls into it like he does any other time he's working, seemingly oblivious to everything else around him. Every once in a while making an approval noise. Mm-hmm. Hmm. After a couple minutes of doing this, he'll look up to her and, well, it definitely is an impressive resume. Uh, you definitely groomed yourself to do this kind of work.
Well, of course. Being a teacher is one thing, but being the dean, no, it has quite a few advantages.
And he'll smile at that. And, yeah, that's very understandable. And as he does so, he stretches a little bit, not knowing where the time had gone while he was working. After sitting so long in such a place, and he looks to her. Well, with this position, it also comes with strings attached to it. He says, emphasizing really strongly on the strings part. And you'd have to be willing to pay the price for the position, as full power of being a dean, but at the same time, you will also be reporting to me, even though I will be enrolling as a student.
I don't exactly understand what you're trying to say, Mr. Lachelle. That just seems weird. Wait, wouldn't you say?
A little bit, but how to explain this? Hmm. And at this point, he'll stand up, still looking at her, and scratch his jaw a little bit. And I guess the best way to go about this would be to inform you that there are creatures that do go bump in the night. And when he smiles this time, his fangs are slowly lengthening out.
Well, before she notices his fangs, she's like, oh, great. So, let me guess, this is a practical joke. And then she sees the fangs. And she stops. Starting to shift away from him a bit.
And when he sees her shift away, uh, his eyes will settle on hers, and he'll just say, "Stop," in a very commanding voice, using his command 1. Let's see, that's dice strain. It works. And her resist would be willpower.
Mhm.
She has a willpower of 2.
One success, but still not enough, so she hesitates and almost moves, but then she completely freezes up.
And she'll probably notice this is a very involuntary action.
Mm-hmm.
And Jordan will smile at this and say, "Oh, nothing to be fearful of. Though not only will you be working for me, I need to take your blood and give you a little bit of mine. It's, shall we say, safety issues. Because not only will I be on this campus, but more of my kind will be coming and going as well. And I need to make sure I have your complete control when things become a little unruly. I'm still going to allow you to live your life, go about your day-to-day business, and you'll gain some benefits in the process. You'll find yourself able to live longer, allowing you to gather more information, be able to study more, to advance yourself. And he seems to just fall into a speech mode, as in, like he's bestowing upon her a great gift. And going to see how well I do this. I'm going to say manipulation, empathy, or expression.
I would say expression.
Yeah. Let's go with that. Oh yeah, this speech is awesome. Despite not being in his best attire, he seems to gain an air of importance and awe, more or less. If she wants to resist, I guess that would be same role.
No, I don't think she's even going to attempt resisting at this point. She's completely petrified.
Excellent. And the speech about the prospects of being a ghoul without actually using the word ghoul, finding it distasteful,
Mm-hmm.
and basically going on about vampire society and how great it is and how she'd be a part of it, and but still not lose her life, just a little control. Is basically how he's playing the downside, but trying to upbeat everything else. And then he'll finally turn back to her and notice that she still hasn't moved a muscle. He's like, "Oh, sorry, I slip a little bit when I become agitated." And he waves his hand, and for some reason, this action seems to dissipate his command as he lets it go.
Well, the second, like, free to move, she goes for the door. So I think that's Dex Athletics.
Yes.
Wait, what are her dots?
2 decks, no athletics. So 1 dice.
Oh, wait, only one dice, you said?
Yeah, because she doesn't have any athletics.
Oh, I'm gonna reroll that. Wow, she botches.
So when she attempts to stand up and run past him, uh, she'll basically trip over her heels. And,
Probably slide into a bookshelf.
well, I'm going to try to make a charming gesture and try to catch her mid-fall.
Okay.
So, no. I'm just as incompetent as she is.
We get tangled up.
Yeah. So what happens is we get tangled up and end up on the floor. My role being slightly better, we'll say me on top.
Okay.
Like, I try to catch her and she falls through my arm, dragging me with her.
Yeah, essentially, they're a tangled mess on the floor.
Yeah.
There we go.
There we go. And he'll compose himself quickly, and this time when he smiles slightly, it's with a chuckle, finding himself in this position. And he reaches up as if to tighten the tie. That's not quite there. Though his fangs are no longer present when he does this.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, I did not mean to scare. Please, consider the option. And this is when his face becomes really dark and serious, because the other side of the option is not as pretty. I'm going to roll an intimidation roll at this.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah.
Well, she's just like, fine, fine, whatever you want, whatever you want.
And he smiles again as he collects himself, gets back up, and then he holds out his hand to her.
She'll
Try to help her up.
she'll shakily put her hand in his to be, helped off the floor.
And he lifts her, and with that charming smile of his, says, "Trust me, it doesn't hurt. I've even heard that it can be quite pleasurable." And with that, he doesn't give her a chance to think about it. Leans down and bites into her neck, taking just a point of her blood. And when he retreats back, he looks at his wrist and slightly bites into it and proceeds to feed her his vitae.
And, in her state of ecstasy, she drinks his vitae.
And afterwards, he closes it off and smiles down at her. Well, hopefully this will be a excellent business relationship. Unfortunately, this process takes 2 more exchanges, but it'll come later. Have you found a place to stay yet? Since you're just fresh into town?
She'll kind of shakily shake her head no.
We will get that dealt with. And, yes. And with this, he looks at the paperwork. Not to jump into business too quickly, but as this will be your school, I got some of the paperwork here and a lot more back at my place. Maybe we should head off for a little bit and discuss matters further.
Still, she'll kind of nod meekly at that and go, yeah, sure.
With that, he moves to gather his paperwork, and then they will leave the school, heading back to his place, and we'll end the scene there.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, players, for playing, and watchers for watching.